Hi, Tech4O channel here, the place where we review cool tech. I wish I could say this is a cool piece of tech. It's a smartwatch called Tophill, but it actually represents something bad. And it's a pity I couldn't post a video a bit earlier than that, because I might have helped 86 other people not to get scammed. So yes, it does not represent any kind of innovation, although released just a few weeks ago. It actually just shows another fraudulent scheme which happened through Kickstarter. Let me tell you more about it. My name is Michael. Welcome. So no, this is not going to be one of the many product reviews, although yes, we are going to talk about Tophill, or T&M, or TM as the company has been rebranded, just for the sake of the fraud. I want to talk more about how it actually happens and give you some ideas how to avoid this in the future. Online, there are two major players about crowdfunding, Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and they work in a pretty simple way. Let's say I have designed something which is really cool, but I don't have the funding to start massive manufacturing. So the thing that I could do is to probably go for a loan from a bank, which is quite risky, and I could go for a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. So I'm going to be presenting to you my device, and then if you like it, you might purchase it in advance. Now, most of the time when you purchase something on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you're actually becoming a backer, meaning you give money to the person, to the developer, and that money is kept by him for as long as there's a need to raise funds, so that it reaches certain limits when he says, okay, now I'm ready to start manufacturing. And you might receive the item eventually in a few months of time. And this is something which works pretty well. We've seen a lot of successful campaigns. And I've presented you already Power Watch by Matrix. There's currently an ongoing campaign about the second generation, which is quite improved. Right now there's the campaign about Narcine, which is an electric scooter manufactured here in Europe, actually right here where I live in Bulgaria, which is another good example of how crowdfunding can work in the good way, supporting an innovative cause. The thing with Tophill is very different though. Thing is that in the last months and years, there are a lot of projects which are simply scams. They don't represent innovation. They're just well-known products that get a new name, a fancy packaging, and a boosted price. The first really massive scams that I've seen online were presented by Ash from the Drawing On channel, and he's a guy who really closely follows whatever is being presented as a crowdfunding campaign in both Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So yeah, some things are pretty scary when you see them. I recently figured out that I was about to be involved in one of these scams. Initially received an email from Gligowatch@gmail.com. So that was my first indication that there's something not right. Gligowatch is a device that we have reviewed on the channel a few months ago, and after the review there were a few weeks where we didn't really hear much from the people, but then we started to see more comments from the kind that the company is fraudulent, that their support does not really respond to any queries, and even some people reported that they never got their Gligowatches which they purchased, and many of them have reported lower quality than what it used to be initially. And because this email reminded me of the Gligowatch, I took it out of the cupboard, and it has now no indication of life, which contributes to the statement about bad quality, although this is among the few first units with the logo. So I thought, okay, sounds interesting, but let's figure out first what's going on with the Gligowatch before bringing more attention to the Tophill brand, which was their new release. And it says here Swiss brand, and that's the first thing that really made me suspicious. I started Googling, and after several hours I figured out, okay, there doesn't seem to be any Swiss Tophill brand, at least known, which makes any kind of smartwatches. I kept on digging online and eventually reached an Alibaba advertisement from 2017 about the smartwatch, which looks very similar to this one, has almost the same features, but again, 2017. So to me, it looked like they're trying to offer 2017 technologies at a much boosted price in 2019. And the moment when our communication got interrupted, it was entirely shut down, was when I asked about that, and there was no further response. So I guess these people were busted at some point, and after that I noticed that they very quickly rebranded Tophill to TM, the Time Machine, which was another smart move. Even if you check the URL of their campaign, it was initially registered to Tophill, and now it's called TM. And unfortunately, I never got to any specific technical details in order to confirm that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that really is the case. And yes, it is a pedometer, and it can measure your heart rate. However, it can measure the heart rate of a table, as we have shown with the Gligowatch, which means that it's quite unreliable, and that's no surprise. 2017 technology right now offered in 2019. Of course, it can't keep up with the more settled brands that actually do some innovation and research. Overall, this kind of functionality can't even beat the Mi Band 2, which was released in the same year and costs right now between 10 and 15 bucks. Not to mention this mechanical part, which was advertised as 100% Swiss made. 100% Swiss made. It's really bold statement. Well, probably for that mechanics, it's worth paying between $5 and $10. And the cheapest early bird perk that they were offering was $129. And using some really good photos, fancy packaging, a lot of good marketing, yeah, they managed to fraud in total 86 people. It really hurts me to see that many people having paid $129 and even more for something which is worth probably 1/10 of this money. And these people don't even seem to get the item shipped and delivered. And online there are so many silly excuses by the initiators of the campaign. And because I've seen very similar behavior of marketing from other scam companies, there is hope. But there also is the possibility that these people would be just hanging in the air without receiving anything. And there are so many things which are wrong with such campaigns. First of all, and above everything else, this is a fraud, and somehow these people have to be punished. You know, this has to be stopped, because these kind of people, they're taking advantage of our trust, of our readiness to help, of our money, of our time, and it's not fair at all. Secondly, we as influencers should be more careful and more intolerant towards that kind of activities and frauds. Right now is the time where YouTube is really trendy, and a lot of people are tempted by the numerous websites which are offering free gadgets in exchange for a short review or positive feedback. We have seen it so many times, but this is how we build an army of fake news, and we don't want that. So bottom line is, if you are an influencer, check your sources. And to everyone who is about to back a project, no matter Indiegogo, Kickstarter or somewhere else, you know, try to do a research. Figure out if there's a real website of this company. When was the website registered? Who is it registered to? Are there some real photos? Has anyone at all received a working product? And that kind of things. Maybe this is the only kind of pattern that we can follow in order to avoid this kind of scams. Because fancy looking designs and a little bit of the right marketing can turn anything into unappealing products. Pardon my English, but you can put in a fancy packaging, make some glamorous photos, and it's still going to look attractive. So yes, that was all about today's review of this Tophill Swiss branded smartwatch. I'm not really going to covering any technical details because it's not really worth. It's 2017 technology, presented as 2019, and Tophill, Gligowatch, TNM, Time Machine, that's more or less the same thing. You know, at the end, I'm calling for your contribution. Let us show the world about all these scammed and fraudulent campaigns, not about Kickstarter, not about Indiegogo. Let me know about any kind of trouble you have with someone who is trying to scam you anyway online. And I'll make sure to maintain a list with the currently ongoing scam campaigns in the description below the video and also in the first pinned comment that you're going to be able to find right below this material. And at the end, I want to finish like that. Don't lose your trust, because out there you can find a lot of people who are smart, honest, creative, talented, and they truly deserve our support. Thank you for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.